Two will enter, one will win. Welcome to the fight. Welcome to the knockout.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Knockout. You know, these will just keep getting fun, more and more fun every single time I do them. We've had a lot of highlights so far. You know, Wolverine versus Black Panther, Superman versus Thor, which ended very poorly, especially for me. But today's episode was Justice League versus the MCU Avengers. I wanted to argue the MCU Avengers, not just the comic book Avengers. I like the MCU Avengers. It just seemed like a little more fun to me. So. Oh, no, be back there. Anyway, but yeah, I'm joined today by John's Comics with Kids, who's been gracious enough to argue the Justice League. He got to pick his 6 out of a couple different incarnations. And
my job here is to rectify the Superman Thor epic disaster from Lady Fantastic.
Yeah, rectify as he tried to sabotage my mic and camera before the show. You know, messing with it, all that. You know, it's just totally unfair. And anyway. So, what we're going to do, like we always do, you get to open the argument. Hold on, I'm going to close my door because the dogs are going crazy.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, so those of you that missed it, Lady Fantastic argued against Matt a few weeks back about Superman versus Thor, and the chat shockingly said Thor could beat Superman, which I'm going to vehemently contest tonight because we're continuing somewhat of that debate.
Yeah, so John gets to open his argument first because he's the guest, and guests should always go first. Then I'll have my opening statement, and then we're going to divulge into the pit that this fight will be in before we have our closing statements, in which case, and when that's the scenario, I will make the final closing statement since he got to go first. So, and then, like I said, and then we'll have a vote. You know, I'm assuming John won't rig the chat to a vote and all that, since he's proved pretty reliable in Comicgories. So let's say we turn this over to you, John, for the beginning of Justice League versus the Avengers. Take her away.
I can see why you want me to go first, because there's not enough people in the chat, so people are going to miss all my key points. But I get your sneaky plan here, but it's okay. It's okay. I understand. I got Simon R here, and Simon R knows the truth, which is that this is not what a lot of people pretend this is. A lot of people want to make this this person versus this person, and then this versus this. When it's Justice League versus Avengers, it's not going to be a Superman versus Thor and Wonder Woman versus Hulk and on and on. That's not how it's going to play out. In my mind, this is really a discussion of 3 strategies. And what you have here is your tanks, you have your Hulks and your Supermans. You also have your sneak attack, ranged attack gentlemen, those ladies and gentlemen that are going to be on the periphery making their strategy moves. And then in the background, you have the leader, that person who is this master strategist, the chess player, the person who is organizing and doing all the prep work planning. And I think in every single one of those categories, the Justice League wins. And that's why I'm representing them here. So firstly, let's talk about that key leader position. It's Batman. Batman is the guy. He is the guy who single-handedly, in several storylines, has been able to take out the entire Justice League. He is able to find weaknesses and then penetrate. He is able to basically break down other players and other opponents. And that's the kind of person you want. His strategy is going to lead the entire Justice League to success. So Batman fans know there's nobody that's a better strategist. He's the guy. Let's also talk about the weaknesses of the Avengers. The MCU Avengers have 3 humans, 3 people who have no powers. They have a couple of gadgets, a couple of little suits against 5 superpowered individuals and Batman. That right there is a dramatic unbalance that's going to allow the Justice League to win. And then let's talk about those 2 other categories I mentioned, the tanks and the sort of ranged attack people. I don't think you could find a better set of tanks, a better set of hard-hitting individuals than Superman, Wonder Woman, the Martian Manhunter, and Jon Stewart. These are all people that you could have as a tank, all people that could hit really, really hard, and I'm not even going to use them all that way. And then lastly, I have the Flash, a guy as Wally West. I'm picking Wally West, by the way, that you can't underestimate. He is a perfect ranged attack kind of guy. So here's how I would use them. What we really need to talk about is not matchups, but strategy. I think the secret weapon for the Justice League in a Justice League Avengers matchup, the ultimate secret weapon is Jon Jones, the Martian Manhunter. And thank you, Steven Spock, for coming by. We appreciate it. I'll tell you why Jon Jones wins this thing, and it's just as simple as this explanation of Martian Manhunter's powers. Basically, what I love about it is I found an explanation of his powers because there are so many. But let's go to basically just his psychic powers. He is the most powerful telepath on Earth, being able to control and affect even the Spectre and Dr. Fate with his telepathy. Aquaman has stated that Martian Manhunter's telepathy exceeds even the telepathy of other members of the Martian race. He has said that with Jon Jones's great telepathic power, his own telepathy just pings off of him. While Aquaman was in the presence of Jon Jones's brother, there was no effect at all. So Jon Jones is capable of linking the minds of all the superheroes at once, and he can spread vast distances. He can cause people to have visions that they can't see, that they can't decipher from real or fantasy. So Jon Jones is the key to this whole thing. He legitimately takes the Hulk out of the equation. The Hulk is the most unstable and inconsistent character and the most powerful one on the Avengers. So what happens? Jon Jones just completely takes over his mind and makes him see whatever he wants. He has the Hulk crushing Hawkeye and taking Iron Man and smashing him to the ground. Jon Jones dissects the Avengers by simply distracting the Hulk. And that alone sets up 2 tanks. So then now I've got an additional tank. I've got the Hulk doing my bidding. Then Superman and Wonder Woman take on Thor. And that leaves basically Captain America, a guy with a Frisbee, and a bunch of humans left. And they're having to deal with Hulk at the same time as they're dealing with Flash. And now how do I use the Flash? Flash is ideal for taking out these human characters. He's so quick. Hawkeye, before he knows what's going on, Hawkeye has his bow taken away. His arrows are gone. Iron Man, before he takes off, Iron Man's suit has been taken apart. He's, Flash zips around and just takes his whole suit apart. And there's Batman just organizing and orchestrating all of this, right? Batman is just pointing out where they need to be and what they need to do. Flash is taking out those 3 human characters. Martian Manhunter's controlling the Hulk. Superman and Wonder Woman are beating on Thor. By the way, both of them can hold his hammer. I don't know why Caroline didn't have to deal with this problem, but Superman and Wonder Woman can both take Thor's hammers away. In comics, repeatedly, they've been able to hold those hammers. So that's what's going to happen. They're going to wipe out Thor. And I haven't even used Jon Stewart at this point. So we've got, in my opinion, the best strategist Green Lantern of all. You've got Jon Stewart basically in the background following Batman's orders, taking on whatever trouble areas appear. And in the end, maybe Jon Stewart just wraps a couple of these normal humans into a bubble, takes them into outer space and leaves them. Who's going to stop him? How is Hawkeye, Black Widow going to stop Green Lantern? It's even Captain America. Throw him in the bubble. What is Captain America going to do against Jon Stewart? The answer is nothing. He's going to get wrapped in a bubble, taken into outer space, and left to die. It's a shocking annihilation. They don't stand a chance. In the end, it'll just be Thor versus all the Justice League, and maybe Superman flies the Hulk into the sun, and then we're all done. It's really just it's an annihilation. Batman is orchestrating it. Martian Manhunter's controlling the Hulk, and everybody else is just dessert for these guys.
I see. It's Thor versus the rest of the Justice League. Well, I think a few more Justice League members, and you might actually, stand a chance against Thor. Just saying. Since since he proved that he can beat Superman.
According to the chat, yeah.
Well, as John would said, this whole argument comes down to strategy. You got power players on both sides. You got humans on both sides because, last I checked, Green Lantern was human, with just all human with just a fancy ring that, someone put a ring on it and claimed him. So, but my thought is that, like I said, you have tanks, but all you have to do is hold the line. You don't have to necessarily crush, go all in full force and crush in the first 5 seconds. If you can hold the line with the right players, with the power players, you can pair off in a little bit and narrow in on certain characters and take them out. And then you're slowly dwindling the other team's reserves. And like I said, everyone has weaknesses, but it seems to me that there are a lot more obvious and crippling weaknesses on the Justice League side than you do have on the Avengers side. Superman is allergic to rocks of all kinds. Iron Man can whip up a nice little solar lamp, and all of a sudden he's just a regular old human strolling through the park. What good's a tank if he can't, throw one? And just, more brains, like Iron Man has more brains than Batman, so he can take him out. Or not really take him out, but he can. Batman is the world's greatest detective, but he doesn't have the capacity to invent a solution, kind of like that. Batman works through the problem, but he can't invent the technology needed to win. Yeah, I thought you might like that.
The chat is not going to like that comment about Batman. I'm telling you right now.
Well, don't worry. You already have Batman Popster siding with you. Thought we could have an unbiased talk, but I guess not. But yeah, so like I said, we'll get down to the nitty gritty, but like I said, there's a lot more weaknesses, I believe, on the Justice League side than the Avengers side, and just player by player, if this thing drags on long enough, I think that the Avengers will come out ahead. And plus, like the movies show, which is what my characters are based on, even if they lose the first round, they win in the end. So
some great comments there. Some stuff that I really, really like. I love that you pointed out some of my individuals have weaknesses, as all heroes do. But that's the whole point. They're a team. So you pull out your little green rock, and the Flash is already taken away from you by the time you've done anything. That's the whole Flash's job, is just to take away your guys' little gadgets and your little toys. And nobody on your team, nobody is fast enough to catch the Hulk. To catch the Flash. I mean.
Exactly. The Hulk.
Nobody would spot him. Nobody is quick enough to spot Wally West. Wally West is going to zip around and just take everything away. So I got a cool arrow I'm going to try to shoot. No, it's gone. I got my little black. No, they're gone. I'm going to put on a suit of armor. I took your glasses away. You can't even do your little Iron Man's little tap the glasses trick. By the time he starts putting the glasses on, they've been zipped away, and Wally's got a little stockpile of stuff going. But let's again, I really want to get to the Batman thing for me. Batman is a master strategist. One of my favorite storylines is Mark Waid's, where Ra's al Ghul gets a hold of Batman's strategies to take out the Justice League. He strategizes better than anybody and can do it on the fly, and he would have all of the weaknesses lit up. And by the time this all settled, your humans would be floating dead in outer space. Thor's hammer would be in somebody else's hand, and Hulk would be rampaging all around, just destroying random stuff. Like it will end quickly, and it will end tragically for the Avengers. Now, do I want to read Justice League Avengers? Of course. Do I want to see Avengers movies? Yeah. but they're not going to win in a head-to-head match. It's just not going to happen.
Well, you're not going to win alone just with Captain Jogger, you know. He might be the fastest man alive, but he still punches at the strength of a regular human, you know. So it's very easy, and plus, makes it a little bit easier to slip, in the cold environment. So just lace the thing, stand in the middle of the pond, and see Flash go sliding by.
I want to hear your rebuttal on the human issue, because for me, I feel like this is where it breaks down. You mentioned that Jon Stewart is a human, and yes, he is human, but that ring elevates him to a whole other level. So he has superpowers, and what you have are 3 humans that don't really have any superpowers. Iron Man has a suit that I feel like the Flash takes away from him before he can really do much with it. And I feel like Black Widow and Hawkeye are useless in this scenario.
Well, as Batman proves, he can keep up with most superheroes. He's at the very least on the same level.
You're proving my point, not your point.
No, Batman's at least on the same level as minor heroes and all that. So he proves that you don't have to be an alien or superpower flowing through your veins. The right training, the right ability, you can keep up with anyone. Now, as far as Green Lantern could go, just like Flash, you can go you can have all the power in the world that you want, but you can only think at a certain speed. You cannot you're not all omniscient or whatever, where you can instantly know what to do and how to do it and exactly what to do to counter. You have to think, you have to observe, think, and respond. He is limited by his very human nature. So it doesn't matter, all that. So yeah, he might have that. Plus, just like I said, this ring might help him out, but it has very pathetic weaknesses of wood and yellow. I mean, seriously, Iron Man goes to the paint shop, paints himself up all yellow, and all suddenly Green Lantern can't touch him.
Well, again, Green Lantern is my ultimate reservist. He's the guy protecting Batman, and Batman's organizing it all. And Green Lantern is just the guy, he grabs Captain America, takes him to outer space. That's dead Captain America, useless Captain America. I feel like as much as I love watching the MCU Avengers in their movies, that they are so unprepared, and their teamwork is so shoddy and so bad, that a team like this Justice League team, which for those that haven't heard or joining in the chat, the Justice League team I picked is Superman, Wonder Woman, Martian Manhunter, Batman, Wally West, and Jon Stewart. This is a team of people who all have a complete control of their powers. Wally West is, based on what most people say, the strongest Flash, the fastest Flash, the best use of the Speed Force. Jon Stewart is a former soldier, way more disciplined than Hal Jordan. None of the giant flaws of Hal Jordan, and I think all of them are cool and calm under pressure. And then again, I honestly believe that the linchpin to this whole thing is Martian Manhunter. I know his weakness is fire, but he's not fighting the Human Torch, and all he has to do is just take a couple of seconds and work on that pea brain of the Hulk, which is clearly unstable anyways. How many times has the Hulk just fought our own heroes in the MCU? It seems fairly constant. So all he's got to do is just do a little bit of that. And now I want to point out Age of Ultron too, because that movie for me works really well to my bonus. Notice that Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch, who were still learning how to use their powers, basically did exactly what I'm telling you my guys are going to do, right? Martian Manhunter's better at his telepathy, and he's going to do a better job of messing with the Hulk. And Quicksilver has nothing on Wally West. Wally West is going to storm by these guys, right? Captain America's shield, take it away. Sure, why not? Right? Zip around and knock this guy over, and knock her over, and knock him over. Take away their weapons, take away their stuff. There's just no chance.
Yeah, and as that movie proved, a simple little upgrade by Iron Man, and he can go toe-to-toe with the Hulk when he starts scraving mad. So therefore, yeah, you take 2 Avengers out, but there's still 4 left.
Well, they're busy fighting the Hulk, which has now become my 7th team.
No, Iron Man's fighting the Hulk.
Right.
The guys are facing the Justice League. Now,
so all you've got now is Thor versus Superman and Wonder Woman.
I think Thor can take the girl.
They'll take his hammer away and pound on him. Thank you to Steven Spock for pointing out I had forgotten that Jon Stewart could apparently take the hammer as well. Green Lantern can hold the hammer.
Yeah, but
So they're all taking his hammer away. He's just going to have to be Sparkle Fingers.
Yeah, well, he doesn't need his hammer. It's only a tool to focus. Anyway, as you know, I'm pretty sure that Steve Rogers, especially with his military training, would recognize Batman as a team leader and the driving force behind it. So it's Steve Rogers has a very good ability to figure out, just like Batman, how to work things and how to do things. He might not be the world's greatest hero, but he can figure things out just as as good as Batman. And he can send and figure out a solution. And a solution he can easily figure out is teaming up Black Widow and Hawkeye, both obviously trained by S.H.I.E.L.D., one trained by the Red Room. I think the Red Room is just as easily a match as any League of Assassins for Batman. And she has the added advantages of not afraid to use guns. A little exposure right here.
Well, for me, that's why. Oh, sorry. You can go ahead.
And a little exposure right here, and one right shot by either arrow or bullet. The spinal cord severed, and there drops a guy in a costume.
So I mean, that's ultimately why Superman, Wonder Woman are taking care of Thor. Martian Manhunter is forcing them to deal with Iron Man or whatever to deal with Hulk, which means I have Flash, Green Lantern, and Batman to deal with your Black Widow and your Hawkeye. This takes seconds. I'm going to go back. Green Lantern wraps them in a bubble, flies them into outer space, and they're gone. They don't even get within 100 yards of Superman. They don't get in within a mile of Batman. They're not going to get anywhere near these guys.
Yeah. Well, I promise you, Batman Popster, for season 2, I will let you in, and you can argue any Batman character you want.
and I want to go to. I know you and Lady Fantastic had some great discussions on Thor versus Superman. And for me, it's not a question of magic at all. It's on the level of strength. I think they are at least matched. And if you take the hammer out of the equation, I feel like Superman's cadre of powers, he's got so much more than just let me punch you. Right.
Yeah.
His powers are at least a match, in my opinion. And then you take the hammer out of it. And I know you feel this on your heart. I know you know this in your heart of hearts. Then you add Wonder Woman to this. Thor is going to be pounded into a pulp, and they're going to walk away with his hammer and be ready to deal with, I don't know who's left. Probably nobody at that point. They're all floating in outer space, frozen little rocks.
Cool. Sorry, I was answering Batman Popster in the chat. But anyway,
so the Iron Man, I do agree Iron Man is tech savvy. He would probably come up with some devices and some things, but are they going to be better or more creative than Batman would come up with as well? And again, I feel like all of the devices in the world don't stop Wally West, who none of these guys can see coming. And I feel like you can't overstate the fact that Wally West and Martian Manhunter are heroes that these guys would not see coming.
Maybe, but
weapon they pull out, the Flash has got it. He's stored them on the other side of the planet for all they know. They would have no chance against his speed and Batman's planning and Martian Manhunter connecting all their thoughts so that thoughts are happening simultaneously to each other. I
agree. One of the things I saw when I was thinking about the argument was the two hardest things to overcome. I was thinking of was Wonder Woman, who I didn't see immediately as any specific weakness. She would have to be dealt with more fist by fist, and the Flash had his speed. I didn't know exactly how to do it, but then I just thought of now going, it's Avengers versus the Justice League. I didn't say Iron Man couldn't invent and produce a whole army of cyborgs and all that, and then it's Flash has to face 1,000 metal men, and you can only go so fast. Eventually you will be overcome by numbers. He's not saying he can't defeat all 1,000, but it would take time. Precious seconds can be the difference between victory and defeat. If you can take Flash out of the equation or distract him for just long enough, a knock to the back of the head and he's down for the count, and then you're just as fast as everyone else when you're unconscious.
And I will say on the Batman inventing tools thing, I really only think Batman needs one tool, and it's nothing he has to invent. I think he just needs an EMP. And Iron Man is and all of his little suits of armor are just an absolute disaster. And he could sit there with his button on the finger, just finger on the button, just run that EMP. Oh, more suits are coming. EMP. Oh, more suits are coming. EMP. This is so much fun. Let's do this all day.
Thor would just go.
No, Thor is busy dealing with Superman and Wonder Woman and getting the stuffing knocked out of him. They're not letting him go. That's their whole task. They have 2 heroes against one half a god.
I see.
Yeah, Batman's just sitting over there. He's doing his work, and Hulk's probably 3 cities away, destroying some innocent town because he thinks it's that's what he thinks the bad guys are.
Well, then the Justice League would be over there trying to stop him because unlike the Avengers, they have a very abhorrent to people dying, and so they are heroes. They would want to stop. They would not send Hulk off to destroy and maim, possibly kill. So that line of thinking, that line of fighting would never happen, because if an uncontrollable Hulk is a danger to everyone, not just the other team. And so that would be a method that, Martian Manhunter would not use. So you cannot manipulate Hulk that way.
Shout out to Batman Popster. He's got some great comments in the chat, and you're doing an amazing job. And I fully agree that Martian Manhunter is the deal breaker here for me. I feel like he is the difference maker, and he's the guy that I would lean on to do a lot of great things. But let's go to that. That's a great comment, that Justice League wouldn't kill.
Mm-hmm.
But then it defeats the point of this entire thing, because they're not going to kill any of your guys. And then, well, what is the point? What are we doing here? Because obviously Thor couldn't lift the hammer if he's just going to smash Superman's brains in, a perfectly good, normal hero, right? The hammer would fall to the ground and be unworthy of him if he's just going to use it for murder.
Oh, you have the same downside that I had, or that Kevin had when he was a super. I can never think of his channel name, but when it was Batman versus the Punisher,
right?
Batman has to win non-lethal. Punisher can win by killing.
Any means necessary, right?
So yeah, so you have the downside of one side not willing to kill. So,
but I would also argue that Captain America, Iron Man, they're bound by the same code. Captain America is not going to blindly murder. He's just not going to do it. And I don't think Iron Man could stand by either. Obviously, we saw his guilt in Civil War at hearing about what deaths and ruin they have caused. I don't think either of them could be much of a killer either. Now, Hulk, yeah, he's going to do whatever Hulk does. Hawkeye and Black Widow, they have a gray area for sure. But I do think that both teams would have a challenge with them killing. And where would that lead them? For sure.
But yeah. Well, it's one-sided because no one's backing me up. I'm just saying.
So you need people to back you up? Is that what you need?
Well, everyone loves Superman, apparently.
Now, where were they when Caroline was here, right?
Apparently they were napping.
I will say, I've never been a huge Justice League fan. I've read a few different runs that I've really enjoyed. I mentioned Mark Waid's run as one of the ones I really enjoyed. But the truth is, like, as much as I love to read Avengers and buy Avengers and watch the movies, the team of the Justice League is what people often say it is. It's incredibly overpowered. It's OP to the extreme. They are a team that has strength on every criteria. I mean, I looked at the interesting information on like power, and it's like Superman, Wonder Woman, Martian Manhunter, they all can be a tank. All of them. They all have that thunderous power.
Yeah.
And then you have Flash and John Stewart and Batman. I mean, you really there's no weak spot.
Yeah.
They have weaknesses as individuals, and you highlighted some of those, fire or kryptonite. But as a team, working together, strategizing with telepathy from Martian Manhunter, you can't isolate an individual. You can't take out an individual because there's the Flash zipping through to take your kryptonite away or whatever. Still takes his orders from Batman. Hey, hello. I didn't say hello to D Runk. I know he's a big Superman fan like yourself. We'd love to hear your thoughts, D Runk. What you think about these two masterful teams. I will say, when you first said MCU Avengers, my worry was that you were going to have Vision and Scarlet Witch. And were you to replace Black Widow and Hawkeye with Vision and Scarlet Witch, I feel like you get a more evenly set battle.
Yeah.
The Vision is the Martian Manhunter of Marvel, if you will. They have a lot in common as far as strength and abilities. So I think if you adjust and get rid of a couple of the dregs, a couple of those humans, you have a chance. I still don't think you'd win, but when you take out the Vision and the Scarlet Witch, I mean, the Scarlet Witch could reshape the world. I mean, they've done it over and over again. She's reshaped the reality of worlds.
I guess that was just my thing. Like I said, I didn't think about that too, I guess, when I was thinking about the MCU Avengers and all that, but I was just thinking of the original movie and all that. And I really wanted to argue that team. Plus I had this argument before with, when I had, who's your Avengers going up against the Avengers kind of a thing.
Yeah.
So, but
so for me, it was Black Widow and Hawkeye were instantly the Achilles heel of the team. And made it a lot easier. Superman could one-shot the entire Avengers.
Yeah, John, you don't need any more help.
Doctor Strange is a game changer as well.
Avengers assemble, please.
I think Strange and Scarlet Witch at the peak of their powers, which obviously in the MCU we haven't seen that yet. In the MCU, they are still gaining abilities and learning how to do their magic. But at the height of their powers in the comics, those are both game-changing heroes. TJ is here. He says, please, Hawkman, Green Arrow, Zatanna, Adam. Yeah, those isn't Hawkman a great strategist, TJ? I heard somebody tell me once that Hawkman was an amazing strategist.
I'm still caught up on the whole Zatanna and duct tape portion of it.
Done.
So
no, TJ, my team is Superman, Wonder Woman, Martian Manhunter, Batman, Jon Stewart, and Wally West
against Hulk, Captain America, Iron Man, Thor, Black Widow, and Hawkeye, the original 6 Avengers from the first movie. So that was just the whole thing. So I think we should go ahead and start wrapping things up, since apparently the chat seems to already have a favorite and is not offering help at all to me.
Who knows? There could be a silent majority.
Well, they're very silent right now. I'm just saying. So why don't you go ahead and have your final closing argument before we have the voting. So take it away with your closing argument.
For me, it comes down to teamwork. I think the MCU Avengers have proven time and again they're not a team that plays well together. They might come back from tragedy and be able to do a little something, but they are never a team that works as a group together. Who's Jon Stewart, says Batman. Whereas I think with Batman guiding strategy, with Superman and Wonder Woman tanking away, with Martian Manhunter controlling and manipulating the Hulk and creating another teammate for the Justice League with the Hulk, and with Wally West and Jon Stewart just taking out all those boring humans with their little, toys, I think you really have a group of superpowered individuals just wiping through a team that has not fully formed. And as a result, it wouldn't last very long. Obviously, Hulk and Thor would last a long time, but by the time it was just the 2 of them, I would still have all 6 of mine, and you would be down to just the 2. And in that moment, I don't know what happens. I don't know if they launch Hulk into the sun, or I don't know what they do. I don't know how they finish off the Hulk, but drop him into the sun. But the hammer is now Superman's or Wonder Woman's or what have you. It would definitely be a bloodbath, as D-Runk is saying. Even if they chose not to kill them, lock them in a space jail or whatever, take them to Oa, lock them up. It doesn't really matter. I do feel strongly that, the most OP superpower team in comic books is the 6 Justice League members that I'm repping tonight. Superman, Wonder Woman, Batman, Martian Manhunter, Wally West as the Flash, and Jon Stewart as the Green Lantern. JLA for life, Batman Popster, I agree.
Yeah. Well, I'm realize I'm about to turn to that wall and start yelling at it with my argument, but here we go, nonetheless. Like I said, there are, compared to the Justice League and the Avengers, yes, you have more as you guys say, OP powerhouses, people that are more pure power, pure tank, versus mortal anytime. But I still think, for the sake of the argument, that there are enough power players on the Avengers side. Thor with Stormbreaker, with Mjolnir, Captain America if he has Mjolnir and Thor's wielding Stormbreaker, Hulk. You have enough power players to hold the line for just a little bit, while the others that are less powerful can use other means or other methods to try and take down and pick off one Justice League member at a time. So, that's just, it's all a matter of strategy and playing it out. It's not just about power. If power was the case, then no bad guy would ever lose because they seem to always have all the power. But that's just the argument. That's just how I see it. I realize, like I said, the chat already seems to have made up its mind. So, but we're still going to have a vote anyway. I won't call it just yet, but I will end my closing statement with this. Which side has Captain America, the symbol of America? And, very patriotic. And if you vote against Captain America, you obviously don't love America. So vote for the Avengers.
The terrorists win.
Well, the terrorists win when you vote against Captain America.
I love Private R says John is saying all of this with an Avengers poster right behind him. I do. I would rather read the Avengers, and I guess for me that comes down to I like flawed characters. They're more interesting to read.
All right. I realize you're the guest, but now you get to count. So vote now.
I like to read the Avengers and watch them on screen because they're flawed, and it's watching overpowered characters is not as interesting for me as watching characters who are still learning how to use their powers and are struggling with it and don't understand them completely. And watching Thor and Ragnarok learn that it's not the hammer that gives him power is a fascinating growth,
See, Superman's just an ass.
There it is. All right. Come on, Cap, join the winning team. We got a spot for you, buddy.
Yeah. Well, so far it's just 100%. So I had a feeling, that way. So it's clearly you. So it's clearly you.
The good news for you is that Superman is now back in the competition. He was not just simply thrown out by Thor and that shocking twist of votes.
So, you get to move on. It looks like you do get to move on to the next round. So you have to pick one of your 6 to move on against either Thanos or Darkseid will be your opponent, the way I structured it. I realize from when I do season 2 and all that, I need to do it more as a lottery. Somehow, like the 6 spots open and then just like shuffle it with the characters like that. So, and then that way, some spots will be bloodsheds and others will be a pretty damn good fight. So, but so this is clearly one-sided. So
you really should have gone with the comics Avengers. He was trying to make it a little fair, I think, but it's it's clearly because Batman just saying Popster is on fire.
Yeah. Well, I liked the comics, or not the comics. I liked the movies more, just because I can read that. So I don't read as I am live here, just so you know.
I know.
So, but so.
I love the MCU Avengers too, and I think they are a great representation of those characters for sure. I just don't think they can beat this OP team. That's the reality.
Looks like I need to leave here sooner than later.
Yeah,
so
that's fine.
So congratulations, John, and your Justice Leaguers for carrying through the day and the chat. Nice to see you guys very impartial until the voting. So see you guys next time for episode 7 of the Knockout. John, thank you again. Do you have anything you want to say before I let you go?
I've got an auction on the Boy Who Had Seven's channel tomorrow. So 5:00 Eastern, make sure you're subscribed to the Boy Who Had Seven. We're going to have a bunch of dollar books, slabs, all kinds of good stuff.
Do you have any Captain Marvel the first?
I don't, but Matt might.
No, he doesn't.
Matt.
Gonzalez. Okay, well, there's too many Matts.
Right?
Yeah, all right. Yeah, this is comics. So, all right. See you, John. See you, chat. As always, happy collecting. And next time, vote for me. Take care, everyone. Talk to you later.